Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Red versus Red and I am the Saffron Man here with Sporadiclese, two Manchester United fans from across the world, literally talking about the club that we love. And I'll tell you what, we've had a belt of a result today. Sporadiclese, you did a prediction video yesterday. What was your score prediction?
I did, and my prediction was 3-0, which for anyone that has been keeping track, this is the first perfect prediction of mine. So, it only took what was this match week 11? So, it took a little bit, but that means maybe we'll have three or so throughout the season.
And what did I message you at 2 minutes past 2?
Yeah, I think that was also that you were expecting 3-0.
There we go. And we could have
So
got that in the
it was
first half if I'm honest. But I mean,
2 for 2. Yeah.
going back to the predictions, though, only one of us predicted Marcus Rashford to play on the right wing, and it wasn't me. So there's that. I am kind of one up on that one. But Sporadic, we had a good result today, and we kind of blasted out of the blocks. It was a fast a real high tempo start, like we actually wanted to be there. I don't know. Talk to me about it. But I was kind of excited at the start.
Yeah, I mean, I think I took in that first half with a lot of joy, honestly. And the way that we started, it was very positive. It was very forward thinking, and we were rewarded for it. We got our first goal at the 17-minute mark. That is twice as fast as any other goal that we've scored in the Premier League season thus far. So it just looked like we were out there on the front foot, ready to go. We knew what we had to do because we'd done it a couple weeks ago, right? And so it was just down to executing that game plan, and it was just a really good first half to watch.
It was kind of a strange start for me, practically, because it was just it's like, I don't know, when you're 1-0 down on the 70th minute, and sometimes the team is able to just change gear and just find that extra pay. It's like we started like that. It's like we started on the 70th minute, 1-0 down, and we had a purpose and a bit of desire. I don't know what we were just clicking instantly, and there wasn't. Leicester didn't really have much of the ball in that first half, and if they did, it's in the middle of the park. They had one or two chances, but ultimately we pretty much dominated that first half, and probably should have had more than just the two goals that we had by half time. But the goals that we
Yeah.
got, they were really well worked. All right, Bruno's second was a bit lucky to unfortunate, but he's had a lot of bad luck lately as well. So the fact that he had a screamer as his first goal, that link-up play with Diallo was just so overdue. Where has that been for the last 18 months? But
Oh
yeah,
man, casual as you like, wasn't it? That was beautiful all
I
around. It
don't
was
think
just
anyone
like
saw it
everybody was.
coming. So well
Yeah, well, I think
disguised.
everybody was
Yeah.
waiting to see what Diallo was going to do because he didn't look like he was going to do anything. So it's like, okay, he has all these different options available to him because he's so casual about the opportunity that was presented to him. And so I think the last thing that anybody was expecting was exactly what happened, which is why it came off so well.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is kind of go through sort of the start. Like Diallo was obviously starting. He had a good in that first half. In the first 15, 20 minutes, he was lightning in a bottle. Every time he got the ball, he was energetic. He was looking to go past his defender. There was space in behind that back four, and he's trying to exploit that space all the time. He was cutting back and then going back. He had full control of their left back, and he was going wherever he wanted. There was a bit of I think, like a half an hour kind of thing, maybe a 20 minutes where he was kind of quiet after that early period. But then he just kind of sprung back to life and links up play on the counter attack, and he could have had a couple more chances as well. He probably should have had 3-0 right on half time where he kind of smashed it, where he probably could have placed it a little bit more and he had a lot more time. But Diallo was really impressive for me today, and we've seen a good uptick in his performance recently, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was kind of predicting a resurgence for him in my video on Friday because I mean he just looked so good midweek, and I think he came out and he kind of came through for us in my opinion in a lot of different ways. To your point, he had kind of a lull there for a little bit, but I mean, on the whole, he just looked really good, really threatening, willing to take people on, which, we haven't really seen from Marcus Rashford. We've seen less so from Garnacho. Garnacho's trying to just find that little half yard of space and get his shots away, a little bit less likely to take people on whenever he's actively being defended. And Ahmad just doesn't care about that. He's willing to, try and put his pedal to the metal and take somebody on, either get to the touchline or get that cut in, and create that space to a degree that we're not really seeing from a lot of the other players. So I don't see how you can't keep on playing him as long as he's fit and able.
Yeah, yeah. Again, just a really cool performance. I'm glad that he linked up well with Bruno, because that's one thing that he has been, we've all been missing, is that link up in the final third, and connecting those passes and actually passing accurately whilst we're moving, because sometimes we're just passing it out and no one's there. And so the fact that we're linking up play now is really cool. I wanted to kind of mention Mazraoui again, because Mazraoui has just been doing bits. And I sat there thinking, whilst watching the match, Sporadiclese, if I was to have 10 outfield players, all of the same person, who would I have? I wouldn't have 10 Ugates, because he can't really finish that well. I wouldn't have 10 Dallos, because, come on, I wouldn't have one Diallo if I could help it. I wouldn't have 10 Brunos, because he can't really defend that well. But I tell you what, I would have 10 Mazraouis. Like, left, right, up top, energetic, midfield, defender, central. Like, I would have 10 Mazraouis if I could fit them on the pit. Like, he is just such a great athlete, and he just seems Manchester United through and through. And you stick him on the left, he's fine. He's overlapping Marcus Rashford. He's getting back to defend. He's also got a heart condition. He's still putting like more miles on the clock. And you stick him on the right, he's doing exactly the same thing. And I dread to think how many miles he's got. But Mazraoui is just... He couldn't ask a much better start from a defender, right?
No, yeah, and we also talked about this not too long ago, and him being possibly our steal of the season in terms of who
13
who's been
mil.
brought in the Premier League and for what amount, and so I think by the dollar, Mazraoui is absolutely one of the best signings in the Premier League right now. He's doing it all. He's making his way forward, but he's not sacrificing his ability to get back and defend. He's smart on the ball. He's smart off the ball. His positioning just looks good. He just feels like an all around good 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 transfer. And I was surprised that whenever we did have that double transfer coming in from Bayern Munich, that De Ligt's valuation was that much higher than Mazraoui's. Mazraoui is a really good player. And so to bring him in for 15, and I think De Ligt was something to the tune of 40 or 45. I thought that there wasn't that big of a skill gap, and honestly, I think that De Ligt has had kind of his shaky performances here and there, and so Mazraoui absolutely just a solid transfer, and so looking like he could be the one for the season. So far, I would say that he's been our best player.
Uh, yeah, since Eriksen's been out the last few games with an injury or whatever, so, I mean, he's kind of cooled off and others, but Mazraoui has just kind of been there for a while. Like, yeah, Eriksen kind of burst onto the scene this season, and then he's kind of taken a step back, whereas Mazraoui's just still there. But yeah, I agree. I mean, since first game of the season, it's like he's been here for 10 years already. Like, no settling in period whatsoever, just pedal to the metal, and he just seems like an athlete. And like I said, you could put him anywhere on the pitch. If Rashford has an injury with 5 minutes to go and you don't have to have a left winger on the bench, you could put him up there if we've got enough defensive options as well. Like, he will go up front if you ask him to. If literally Onana gets sent off and like we've made all of our subs, I'm sure he would go in goal for a penalty shootout or whatever. Like, he just seems like he would do everything. And
He's got the confidence, right? I mean, he's just in such good form. We played him at center attacking mid against Fenerbahce whenever Bruno Fernandes was out.
yeah.
So he's not unfamiliar with playing out of his element, so to speak. He still looked like he had all the confidence in the world in that match, and so to your point, I think he could play just about anywhere on the pitch right now, and we wouldn't really have an issue with whatever position that we choose to put him in.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's confidence. When was the last time we saw someone play with confidence for Manchester United? Like Kobe Mainu, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, but apart from that, and it's just strange. It's great to actually see a confident player playing and actually getting a performance. He's trying to pull everyone else up with him, which I think is really cool. I kind of want to go through and talk about El Capitan Bruno as well. Like, just again, we talked about his finishing earlier. He hasn't had the best start of the season, Sporadiclese. But the last couple of games, it's like since Ten Hag has been sacked, he just seemed to have. His performances are just getting. He's assisting again. He's creating again. He's talking to people. He's shouting at people for not being where they should be. Like, it's just he's back, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and we've definitely seen it after any number of our head coaches are removed from their post. That right, we have this uptick in form. Like whenever we brought in Ole, and then after we sacked Ole, we had another bright period, and it's about consistency, right, through the manager, the new manager coming in, and so I'm hoping that we can kind of see that with Ruben Amorim coming in. He's not entirely unfamiliar with a lot of the players in our squad. Obviously, Ugarte, he actually played with Lindelof at Benfica, and so there's some familiarity there. And so that's really what we're going to need, is that we're going to need to have that consistency, and it's going to start with Bruno, right? I'm thinking that there must have been something going on between Bruno and Ten Hag, because he's been an entirely different player, right? And he's really where it all starts. Your captain is the player that is supposed to set the example for the team, and that has been exactly what he's done since Ruud has kind of taken over, and so. As long as he continues to have these types of performances, which he's not exactly the type of player that Ruben Amorim prefers, but him being as crucial to our team as he is, I think he's going to have no choice but to play him, and I think he'll get the best out of him. But, I mean, 2 goals against Leicester last time out, a goal and a half against Leicester this time out.
Can we play Leicester next
really
week?
Good work from him.
Is that all right? Is that okay? We play Leicester next week.
What's that?
Can we play Leicester next week as well?
Keep getting Bruno well, we said the same thing about Brentford, so
that is true. I mean, that's 7 goals. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like Bruno's been given a little bit more of a free roam role since Ten Hag has left. Like, I think we're seeing Bruno come deeper. He's not staying in that fixed 10 position. In that fixed 10 position, he's got his back to goal quite a lot of time. When he does turn, he's got his back 4 like in front of him, and no one to really pass to. The wingers are 2 out wide. There's no central options. Højlund's got 2 or 3 people marked on him, and he's too far out to shoot, sort of thing. So it feel like Ruud's been given the option. You might not have the options there all the time. Don't be afraid to come to the halfway line, pick up the ball in pockets of space, start your move from 10 or 20 yards deeper and work your way forward. Link up with people and progress forward with the ball. And we kind of got that with the throw-in. We talked about the goal already, but from that throw-in, from out wide on the left, and that come from a counter-attack where Diallo was kind of through. He got a header through, and he was kind of pushed out wide from a counter-attack. And then that's how that goal got generated, and they linked up. But that back heel from Diallo was just disguised so beautifully. But Bruno the only person that knew that back heel was coming was Bruno. Whether he's seen it in training or he's seen Diallo do that before, he just continued his pace, expecting that pass to come, where he was the only pitch on it to do so, and that strike. I mean, the defender was right there, perfect to just guide it past him. Keeper had no chance, really. I mean, he probably should have got a touch to it, but I mean, it was just behind the defender, so it's so hard to see him last second. And just a great goal. But he did get a bit lucky for the second one, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he's not going to get exact credit for that second one, but to your point on that first one, he did look like the only person that was really ready for what was happening, which is a bit of a surprise because that was really the only space that was available, right, in that whole 18-yard box. That was the one spot where there was any type of room for anybody to do anything, and Bruno saw that. And I think, Diallo, that was the space that he had just vacated, right, to kind of get out of that way. And so, it's kind of that 1-2, and it was a bit more casual than most people expected, which is why I think it caught a lot of people off guard. And so, props to both of them. I mean, Diallo had to come all the way from the right wing in order to make that play happen too. So, um, it's just all these things coming together, and we saw a lot of interchanging parts and players moving to different places throughout the pitch, kind of throughout that match. Maybe not to the same degree that we had seen Garnacho and Rashford the last couple of weeks, but I mean, overall, it looks like they've all kind of been given a little bit of free roaming capacity, but within reason,
Hmm.
right? It's everybody looking to make sure that there is somebody else that's going to be in the space that they are vacating before they're like, okay, I'm going to make this run and I'm going to create this space. And that second goal, that was Hoyland creating space, bringing Yannick Vestergaard out of position, which in my opinion, I look at that and I say, yes, that was what Hoyland created. And also, if we wouldn't have had that opportunity, if Bruno wouldn't have, been taking that chance, that very easily could have been a penalty because Vestergaard was not trying to play the ball at all. The ball was well gone, just throwing Hoyland to the ground. Coming through the back of him. I figured that very well could have been a penalty if we wouldn't have scored there. So
I don't know. There's been so many strange penalties given in Europe this week, and I think Premier League is kind of a lot more stringent as to what should and shouldn't be a penalty. And I think Hoyland has got lucky of the last one against Chelsea, for example. It
yeah,
was probably a penalty, but it was a bit lucky there to be given it. I think he was kind of looking for this one as well. If I'm honest, like I thought the ball was nowhere. Yes, it was like 3 foot higher than him. He was nowhere near contesting for the ball. But yeah, he worked hard again. He's I can't forget that the Leicester centre back's name, the one that looks like David Luiz, but they were like on each other like all the time today, and they were having a proper wrestling match, which was good. But then Hoyland's like that. We know what he's like. That's what he offers all the time. Um, but yeah, Marcus Rashford, not the greatest of games today. Was his effort there? What was his mentality like? He got brought off at the same time as Diallo, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, not the best of outings from Marcus today.
no, and I feel like there was just an energy piece that was missing for sure. He just looked like he wasn't really up for it today. I feel like he was a little bit lackadaisical on the ball. He wasn't really, he didn't move around a whole bunch. He did kind of try and move inside the pitch a little bit, but not to really any great effect. And I think that was kind of uh, as I was watching the match, I was kind of dogging on Hoyland because Hoyland kept on losing the ball and trying to hold it up, and it wasn't working, or his touch wasn't there. And I think that it was very similar for Marcus Rashford, but the difference was the energy. And Hoyland was very energetic and, moving around and trying to get into good places and, doing all of these things that Marcus Rashford just wasn't doing. And so, I mean, I, I really hate to see it from a guy that has done so much for our club in the past, but maybe it really is time to move on. I've tried to be a really big advocate for him, but his energy's not there, his performances aren't there. We're just not seeing any type of quality from him that we have been seeing, whenever he is in form, and so it's just it's just not there for me. He's not there for me, and I think maybe it's time that we move on from him.
I did a video a little while ago about 50-60% of the United squad being sold in under 12 months sort of thing, and basically just went through all of the players like we talked about in the podcast like last week or the week before or
Yeah,
something like that. And I basically said, look, Marcus, whether you want him to go or want him to stay, as of this point, he's basically got 8 months to save his Manchester United career. We're not going to sell anyone huge like Marcus Rashford in January. There are plenty of other people, fringe people that we could sell, like Lindelof and Maguire if we wanted to try and generate some cash to make some purchases. But if Marcus was going to go, it would be during the summer. And Amorim will have a say. He's either for me or he's not for me. And so he's got to knuckle down now. Whatever Marcus thinks as well. This is going to be all on Marcus. Can he make himself fit in an Amorim system? And can he get back to form? Can he be that leader that the youngsters need him to be? We need him to be that pinnacle guy that produces results week in, week out, and say, hey, this is what a Manchester United level standard players should be doing all the time. And but yeah, he's got 8 months to do that. We all know he can, but will he? I'm not sure. So yeah, I think that's a ticking time bomb on that one, buddy. I think all of our questions will be answered this summer, I think, in terms of Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, early signs point to no. He's just not. He's not going to do it.
Look, I'm open-minded. Amorim could be anything. We don't. Everyone's assuming that we're going to switch to a 3 at the back and a 5 at the back, or wing backs and everything else. Who knows? Him and his team might be coming up with some next level kind of 4-4-2 or something like that, and bringing that back to the ages. Who knows? So. Yeah, I'm open-minded. I have no idea what system Amorim's going to play or want to play or where he wants Marcus in that. Does he want him up top with Højlund? Does he want him sticking out wide? Does he want him playing a little bit deeper as he gets older so he's more experienced? Like in the De Bruyne role or something where he just runs at people and just pings the ball? Because he can do a little bit of everything. And if he's not going to do 30 goals a season anymore, there are other places on the pitch where he could be more effective. But every time we've tried to move him, he goes, oh, I like it on the left, I like it on the left. Well, if Amorim says you play on the right or you play in the middle, then you're going to play on the right or you're going to play on the middle. If he tells Anthony, I want you left wing back, guess what, Anthony? You're going to go to left wing back without arguing with Saliba at Arsenal, aren't you? So that's just what you got to do. But speaking of trying to fit into positions as well, though, you said that you're worried for Marcus Rashford. Like I said, I'm open-minded. He's got time on the clock. He's got a new manager coming in. Anything could happen. With Diogo Diallo, I'm kind of where you are with Rashford. I think no matter what system, no matter what manager, I don't think the one chance Leicester had in that first half today, Diogo Diallo played them onside. And then even when he saw him through, he didn't even think of trying to chase him. He just put his hand up and that's 2 or 3 times he's done that this season. In 10 games, he's held his hand up on TV and says sorry for not chasing back the defender. And I can't, just for that alone, has to stop. And the fact that he's diving in like Casemiro in some of these tackles, it's worrying signs. You put him on the left, you put him on the right, it doesn't matter. Mazraoui plays better than him and shows him up. And if we can get Mazraoui 13 million, I would like to sell Diallo for 25 or something and get another right back or left back for 13 million, please. Or just play Harry Amass. What do you think? But I think Diallo's time is up no matter what happens.
I think that Ruben Amorim has a proven track record of giving youth a chance, and so Amass is going. I think that Amass is going to finally get minutes. I was honestly kind of miffed whenever Martinez went down, kind of clutching his side with 7-8 minutes left in the match, and we didn't see Amass coming on. We ended up taking off Diogo Diallo, shifting Martinez over, and sending Mazraoui over to the other side. Just put Harry Amass in. We're already up 2-0 at that point. Ended up being 3-0. Get the guy some minutes.
Was he even on the bench today?
What's he got to do? What's he got to do to get minutes? It's ridiculous.
But that's what I mean. It's too late now. If he was going to get minutes, he should have had 5 minutes at the end of the game at the start of the season, or 10 minutes in a cup game 6 weeks ago, and he should be working up. The fact that he hasn't had any minutes so far is what's worrying. And I thought Ruud coming in for 3 or 4 games, he would be the guy to give him the chance to make it happen. We've had a cup game. We've had a European game with some Premier League games, and we haven't seen him like at all. So I don't know what he's got to do, but I'm right there with you. I'm kind of angry about it too. I wanted to see if he was actually on the subs bench today. I'm just double checking the lineups. Wasn't even on the bench today. It was Lindelof and Johnny Evans were our only defenders on the bench today. So, yeah.
That's just crazy. I mean, against a team that you've already beaten handily a couple of weeks ago, you don't even put youth on the bench to give them an opportunity. What, was Fitzgerald on the bench
Nope.
for midfield option?
Nope.
Like, what I mean, I guess I get it from Rude's perspective, right? He wants to make sure that Amorim is in the best position possible whenever he comes in, and tries to start changing things up, so we have as many points as possible. I think honestly, out of all of the games that we've had, this really was best case scenario. 2 wins out of 3 in the Premier League, a win in Europa League. I mean, that kind of starts to get us trending in the right direction in terms of where we need to be. This puts us at, I think, a 0 goal difference in the Premier League.
Woo!
We have as many wins under Ruud van Nistelrooy as we had in the Premier League under Erik ten Hag.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want that to sink in. That's why Erik ten Hag was sacked.
But we're replacing him for Amorim now. We'll get to that towards the end. There's still a couple more players I want to kind of get through.
Yeah.
Now, as good as that, but yeah, really worried about Diogo Dalot. I think he could well be a person that could get replaced in January if another comes in. I know they're both Portuguese, Amorim and Dalot, but where we said Rashford's got like 8 months to find something to make it happen, I literally think Dalot's got until January. So he's got like two months, and that's it. I think.
I agree.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but
it's just not been there, and it's night and day between what he's kind of been going through versus what I believe our next guy's going through in Casemiro. Casemiro had a really tough start to the season, and he had, I think, his first season with us was pretty good, and then he's just kind of declined. But then, I mean, you pair him up with Ugarte, and it's just night and day. I mean, what do you think about that, Saf? What's going on there that he's just had this sudden resurgence in form?
I want to say that we've kind of stumbled onto a partnership here which could do something. Now, Casemiro's getting on. He could well be gone by the end of the season. He might have one more season left in him if we do well. Again, it all depends on what Amorim wants. But all of a sudden, it looks like we've found a partnership that works in the midfield. Whether we've had Fred or McTominay, or we've had Kobbie Mainoo and Christian Eriksen, we haven't really had a midfield duo that have worked well in quite a while. And Ugarte got a bit of stick when he first started playing for us as well. And he had a bit of a rough start in terms of the pressure. We've been after him for quite a while, like the price tag and everything else. But man, having 2 destroyers in the centre of midfield is just so amazing to have. I'm sure our back four are delighted. This is the first time Leicester haven't scored in the Premier League this season. They've scored in every other... This is the first time we shut them out. And I think that's mainly down to Ugarte and Casemiro. Now, again, when Bartes used to come out with the ball and do these Cruyff turns and stuff, and you get, oh, God... That feeling of, oh, God, what are you doing, you Wally? Right? And it's the same thing that Onana does every now and then when he hangs onto the ball for the doodle. It's the same thing when Casemiro goes in for a tackle. That one in the first half where he kind of slid under the guy's legs. He got up, jogged a little bit, and then wanted another slide tackle in that. My heart stopped for both of those tackles. The first one was a foul, but he got played on because the guy was able to carry on running with the ball, and the second one was in the penalty box, and it's just half an inch away from a penalty. Great to have in your team, but hard to watch. Sometimes,
losing weeks off your life expectancy every time he goes to the ground.
yes, that's exactly what it is.
It's hard, but I feel like he's had fewer of those in recent times. I mean,
what do you mean? He's had like 5 in the last 3 games. Like he's had 2 in this game alone.
5 in each game. And
no, because he doesn't usually last that long. He gets sent off. The point, like, it's tough to watch.
No, he doesn't. Look, he got 2 red cards last season, basically back to back.
Yeah, but one of them shouldn't.
But those were his first red cards in his entire, like, straight red cards in his career. He does not get red cards.
But look, you play silly games, you're going to play silly prizes. And he loves to play silly games, and he's going to get silly prizes at some point.
He has been a little bit in recent times. But I think he's also, some of that burden has been shifted off of him whenever he plays with Ugarte. And the expectation of people going to ground and making those challenges goes to somebody that has the legs and the athleticism and the anticipation. I think Casemiro has the anticipation, but he doesn't necessarily have the same athleticism that he used to. And so everything is coming in a little bit late. He's not getting to the ball quite as quickly as he needs to be. But on the flip side, you can see his experience going forward whenever he's making decisions on playing the ball. Yes, he has been caught in possession a couple of times, but most of his brightest moments have looked like they have been on offense. And I think that he's starting to get back to his defensive form a little bit. It's just taken some adjusting because, again, he doesn't have that same level of pace, that same quickness that he used to have at Real Madrid. It's just gone. So there's this adjusting period, and he is starting to figure that out. And I think for the most part, whenever you're in training during the week, you're not practicing your ability to slide tackle. You don't want to risk your players, your other attacking players and your teammates by practicing slide tackles in the middle of a lot of your drills and everything. And so that's not something that he's had to acclimate himself to before, was that loss of that half step. And so it is taking some adjustment, and I think he is getting there. And so I think we are seeing kind of the best version that we're probably going to get from him going forward, as long as he's in a Manchester United jersey. And it's going to be tough, but again, I think that having a little bit of that burden lifted of being that destroyer whenever he is on the pitch with Ugarte really allows him to shine.
I agree, but I think it's having that second destroyer alongside him that's just unlocked whatever started happening. Like having that partnership where you can actually trust in. Like he's basically Casemiro, but with younger legs. Like he's got a bit more in him, and so they're definitely connecting well. So I don't remember the last time I saw a team that had 2 destroyers in midfield like this. But I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's unique. I think it's fresh. I mean, if you could have 2 N'Golo Kantés in the mid, you would have them, wouldn't you? And
you would have to have them,
right? And that's
you
pretty
don't
much
do
what
anything
we've got.
else.
Look, for all those cynics out there, I'm not saying Ugarte's at the level of N'Golo Kanté or anything else like that. I'm just saying that type, right? N'Golo Kanté was kind of a destroyer. He was always not as many slide tackles as what these 2 have got, but he was in your face. These 2 are in your face with those slide tackles, and they're kicking you, they're leaving their mark on you. Ugarte gets like 5 fouls every first half, and he doesn't get booked for them, and then he gets a booking in the clubs league in the second half, and then he still comes in attack. It's crazy. I think they're kind of they're good and bad for each other. I hope Ugarte doesn't pick up the slide tackles from Casemiro. But I hope that he can pick up the vision that Casemiro's got, and vice versa.
I hope he doesn't pick up the quality of slide tackles from Casemiro, because the slide tackles that he's making, I like for the most part. For the most part, there are 1 or 2 head scratchers every now and then where I'm just like, what were you thinking there, buddy?
He wasn't thinking. That's when the monk comes in from Meme Machine.
It's all instinct and reactive with him. Yeah, for sure.
So pop quiz for you, Sporadiclese. And let us know your thoughts on this one in the comments below. Who is faster, Xerxes or Casemiro?
Oh gosh, I haven't really seen Xerxes.
Answers on the postcards.
Well,
yes, we have seen Xerxes. Yes, we have. He was through 1-on-1, and he lost out to Robert Huth or whatever. I don't know. I think they were both trying to pull a hamstring, trying to outdo each other. I think if they were to sprint the length of the pitch in a race, they would I think one of them would pull a hammy by the time they got the halfway line.
Oh, more than likely.
Yeah.
Those 1830s are killer, man. I tell you what, and they're hammy destroyers.
But I don't know. I would give Casemiro's determination the advantage in that race. I would love to see it. I think
He doesn't like to lose, does he?
No. I mean, and if Xerxes did get ahead, you just know Casemiro's going to clip his heels or something and trip him up. You just know it's going to happen. But yeah. Great partnership in Casemiro and Agate, and I hope that they get properly tested against like a Juventus or something, like going forward, like obviously not this, but high-end opposition. Like, can Casemiro do that with Agate against a Liverpool, where he failed last time, for example? Can he raise the bar and add that level of consistency? Because right now, he's a general. Him and Agate are calling all the shots in midfield, which gives Bruno that freedom for that freedom role. So, yeah, I love it. I think it's really cool, and I would love to see Kobe Mainoo come into this, or Lenny Yoro out wide, just running past Casemiro and Agate. Oh, my God, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. All right, so, yeah, Casemiro is doing well and good. So we're coming towards the end of Ruud's kind of tenure as Manchester United manager. Obviously, we're at the international break now officially, and by the time that we come back from the international break, we're going to find out what's going to happen with Ruud. Now, as of right now, he's done a lot of talking, saying that he's happy to help out the club however he can. In my opinion, I think that talking might have cost him the job. Because he's saying, I'll do anything, I want to manage, I want to assistant coach, the players have come out said that they want him, and I don't think Amorim wants to kind of walk in to have, I don't know, it's a unique situation for everyone, and only you and I could kind of answer that when we're actually in a position there and then, like having those chats with Ruud, what he can offer. We all kind of want him to stay because we're all romantics for the club, right? We all want our legends to stay. Does Amorim want to work alongside a legend of that kind of stature? I'm not so sure, but he wants to. We don't know what Amorim wants. So that is probably the big question, Sporadiclese. Like, if he's going to stay or if he's going to go. He wants to stay. Can Amorim's bringing his own staff with him? Do you think he could... Does Ruud want to be a second assistant coach again? Or does he want to be... There's quite a few complications in this one, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, he was previously the head coach of, I believe it was Anderlecht before he came over to be the assistant for Erik ten Hag this season.
PSV, wasn't it?
I think it was Anderlecht.
I'm checking.
I mean, obviously, fact check me on that, but so I'm pretty sure that he's come from a head coaching job to take on an assistant role, and he came out and said the only place that I would consider doing that at was Manchester United. So it's obvious that he has that sentimental value of being here, being at Manchester United. The players obviously love him. They love his mentality. They love so many of the qualities that he brings, and it seems like he really has an ability to bring people together. To get them on the same page and make them feel like they are all important pieces to the, important cogs to this Manchester United machine that we've really seen. I think, the Chelsea game was the only exception, but we really looked dominant in almost all of our other performances. Yes, we have our moments where, PAOK definitely could have scored on us. There were a couple of opportunities there at the back. Leicester, same thing. And we even had one today with, I think, Ayew breaking back between the, breaking behind the lines because Diogo Diallo is off in La La Land, not holding the line. And so, all together, though, I mean, we've got to put him up there in terms of, quality managers that have been at Manchester United in the the past few years. Obviously we haven't had that much of an opportunity to see exactly what he's going to bring to the table, but I mean, just from these glimpses, I would love to have him on. He's got people firing on all cylinders. Our offense looks actually like they're going to be threatening each and every game. he's definitely got a lot of the qualities that I think we need to be looking for in terms of, bringing up morale, especially with this group of players where they struggle to relate with the manager, and that's created so many problems. I mean, Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes, I believe, didn't really like Jose Mourinho. Um, Eric Ten Hag has had any number of issues with any number of players. I mean, so he's gone now because he just can't get these players motivated. And then you look at 4 games over the course of 2 weeks, and Rude has them just looking like a pretty well-oiled machine. Sure, they still have some gelling to do, but I mean, I would take that level of consistency week in week out over what we've been getting from Eric Ten Hag all day every day.
Yeah, so Rude has never stepped foot in Anderlecht. It was always PSV.
It was PSV. Okay,
it was PSV. So,
but was he head coach?
yeah, he was for a short period, and then whatever happened with the board, he says, "No, I don't like this," and just literally just kind of walked away. He ended up winning a cup with them, the Johan Cruyff Cup or something like that with them. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, do you think if Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos weren't so... I mean, let's be honest, Ten Hag was sacked on Monday, and by Monday afternoon there were rumours of Amorim, which was kind of crazy. It moved rather quickly. Yeah. We obviously appointed Rude on the Monday. If Amorim wasn't already announced, like let's say Amorim hadn't been announced yet, Rude is kind of looking favourable for the job. But we've done this with Ole as well. Like, we did this, we got all romantic with the thing, but do we want the romance of Rude? And Rude looks the part. He's got the respect of the players. I just think we praised Ineos for being positive, but the way that Rude's got the players acting at the moment, it's like, now that's a tough call. Obviously, you've now announced that Amorim's going to be coming and everyone's going to be excited and new staff are coming in. Awesome, it's great. But you've just got a guy that's just come in a really difficult, a worst performance, worst of the league this season, like in any season. And he's come in and he's started not just get results, but yes, we've had 4 games at home, but he's got his goals, he's got a mentality moving forward. We're still in all the cups because, I don't know, I've got a strange feeling that he's going to be gone, and I'm going to be well, I think that's either way. This is going to put more pressure on Ruben Amorim. If we keep Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's just going to be under his shadow a little bit. If we don't get Ruud van Nistelrooy, it'll be like Ineos have just got rid of 250 staff, Sir Alex Ferguson and Ruud van Nistelrooy in the space of 3 months or something, and it's just not going to look good. It's a tricky situation. I don't know how that. We either want them to get on like a house on fire. I don't know. I can see so many complications in this one, man. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I would at least like to see him stay for a little while during this kind of transitional period, right? Because we don't know how the players are going to react to Amorim coming in, what his demands are going to be, how it's going to affect the mentality of the players and their morale. Whereas you have what obviously seems to be a proven morale booster and positive influence in that locker room. Now, granted, 2 out of our 4 games were against Leicester, right? And we did exactly what we did the first time, the second time, except we didn't give up any goals, and we didn't score as many goals by the exact same amount that we didn't give up, right? So 5-2 and 3-0. Looked like he kind of shored up a few things in the back, minus Diogo Diallo just being on an island and providing probably the best opportunity of the match for Leicester, and really for both teams, I thought. I looked at him getting through through the line because of Diogo Diallo, and I was like, that's a goal. 9 times out of 10 we get scored on there. But Onana, props to him, came out, made himself big. Good save there. So positive things from him. I think we've seen a lot of positives from Onana, but that's a story for another day. But I mean, the influence that Ruud has had on this team and the way that he has brought people together, I think should not be undersold. And so I'd love to see him stay on. But to your point, Amorim is going to have a fairly significant say in whether or not Rude stays. So, the contract goes through 2026, I believe, but he could be gone in a couple of weeks. So,
Well, so that was his assistant coach contract. He's on the interim coach contract at the moment,
yeah,
which obviously, and whether he reverts back to that old contract of the assistant coach or not, I think that's what's in doubt, right? Because he is on a
yeah,
different contract. He would have to be offered a new contract with a new role. What that new role is going to be, that's what's in question. And obviously, he wants to help out Manchester United however he can. But if he's
for
in a
sure.
role where he's not helping, like if he's like second or third or fourth assistant coach, or if he's like a second goalkeeper, or if he's not getting what Rude needs to feel important or to feel active in the club, then he'll go to elsewhere. Like he doesn't want to be like sticking out like a sore thumb or anything else like that. So, um, yeah, it is. Again, there's so many complications around it. You can see it from multiple sides. I mean, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's side, he kind of wants to support the manager, so he's just going to let him have a say. He's going to say, look, Rude's a really cool guy. It would be great if you can find a place for him or something like that. And then Amarim will either go, yeah, sounds good, he can do this. And then Rude will like, yeah or no. And he'd be like, no, I don't want Rude for whatever reason. I want my team. And be like, okay, I respect your decision. Sorry, Rude, but it's just going to be tough either way, and I think some fans are going to be divided on this. Just quickly before we kind of wrap things up, we pretty much mentioned everyone except for Alejandro Garnacho. I'll be honest, that second half was a bit of a snooze fest in comparison to the first one. It's like we went into control mode, which is understandable, and we tried to take our chances on the counter attack, sit deeper a little bit, let Leicester try and come out, and then we also get them on counter while they're looking for their 2 goals. Right, Garnacho. Again, we've been talking about Garnacho all season as being the energetic game changer, coming on for half an hour and just run the defence ragged. And that's exactly what he does, and he does that so well. And he could potentially be the best substitute in the world on his day. Like, if we use him that way this season, like, let Rashford just get him all tired, let Diallo have games like tonight, get him all tired, and then we bring on Garnacho against anyone on the planet, after 60 minutes, he can cause you havoc. And he did that today. Fantastic goal. Had a couple of opportunities. We were saying he's not taking enough opportunities. He must have had 3 or 4 opportunities in that half an hour, and he got his goal, which was an absolutely fantastic goal. And it just
it was.
just looks like he's ready for that role, ready to come on whenever needed.
Yeah, I mean, even my wife looked at that play and was like, "Why would they give him that much space?"
Because they're tired.
She's not a football fan almost at all, but she saw that and was like, "What are you doing? He scores goals, and I mean he does, and so to give that quality of a player that much space and that much time to, he took 2 touches before he took that shot, and nobody even looked like they were even remotely ready to press him, and that's what you have to do with somebody like that with that quality. Because he is going to strike that at that back post every single time, and this time he got his foot around the ball, which he hadn't been doing the last game or 2. But I think 7 goals in all appearances, 3 of which have now come in the Premier League. So he's our top goal scorer in all competitions. I mean, he just looks every bit the part of a future world beater, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him continue to develop. His best performances, a lot of his goals, to your point, are coming off the bench. So if that's going to continue to happen, continue to use him that way. John Duran for is it
Villa?
Villa?
Yeah.
For Villa, I mean he's doing the same thing, and so if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So. I think you leave Marcus Rashford in. Amad Diallo doesn't care whether or not he's starting or being a substitute. He's coming in and he's coming at you, and you're going to have a hard time with him. Garnacho, it seems like if he comes in and the defense is tired, he's gonna punish you every single time. I think he struggles a little bit more whenever he's on the pitch from the get-go, but he still has his opportunities. He's gonna make his opportunities whenever he can. So. I love to see youngsters having their day. I think that he and Amad Diallo are probably two of our best players right now. Those two and Bruno Fernandez with his resurgence in form. So I'm hoping that they can continue to do that after the international break, and I think we could be in a good position come January. I think we really could. I would say that we'll be top half of the table, but I don't think we'll be top four.
God, you are so optimistic today. We've just beaten Leicester 3-0. Sorry, I'm watching the Chelsea Arsenal match as well. But like, I don't know. I'm not as optimistic as you are. Like, there are so many variables and questions with Amorim.
Absolutely, there are. But I mean, just based on the last 2 weeks of form, I think it all looks good. I think there's a lot of positive signs.
We're about to replace the guy that gave us that form.
That's correct, but we're seeing the potential of all of these players that we have come to fruition, and I think that that's going to continue because everybody's starting to gain a little bit of confidence. Hey, we are good. We are a good team. We are good players. We can be a good solid unit. Some of that cohesive nature needs to still kind of get there. But I think that our four block in that central, midfield defense area looked a lot better today. We obviously have that one position in our wings or our wing backs that we really need to fix in Diogo Dallo. But overall, I mean, it's starting to look better, and I'm hoping that Ruben Amorim can really just come in and, pick up that momentum and continue that forward. Because if he does, then sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah, awesome. So thanks for that today, everyone. Hope everyone's kind of enjoyed that. So we've got an international break now as well. Let's hope Luke Shaw hasn't been picked for starters, because
don't do it. Don't put that evil on us.
The thing is, I saw an image the other day that he's kind of back in training, and I was like, oh god, is Tuchel going to pick him or something? Could you imagine? I don't know. But yeah, we've got a couple of weeks. I'll still be making my videos during the week. You'll see Sporadiclese again on Friday. Maybe he's going to do something a little bit different on Friday. Maybe a giveaway or something. There we go.
I've already got some ideas.
So if you want to get involved with the giveaway, make sure you stay tuned for Friday's video. But yeah, we'll still be back. I'm not sure if we're going to be doing an episode next weekend because of the international break and there's not a lot of news. Maybe we'll stick to individual videos. We'll see. If Sporadiclese and I are both free next week, we'll kind of make it happen. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it today, man. We had a good game. We had a good result. Rude's had a good tenure. Positive vibes going into the international break, and hopefully a new manager smell by the time that we all get back. So it should be pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for everyone for watching. I've been the Saffron Man. He's been Sporadiclese. Make sure to hit a follow and a like on your way out. And do what? Share it to some other Man United fans if you know them. Get in many Discord groups and your Facebook groups. There we go. Tongue twisted towards the end. But yeah, thanks a lot. See you all next time. Peace.